A playing cat is a healthy cat. That's what all vets agree upon. Physically and mentally, play is vital for them. If you've noticed your feline buddy lounging more, playing less, and quickly losing interest after just a minute or two of play, that's a problem. But guess what? The issue might not be with your cat at all, but rather with how we approach playtime. You might just be doing it all wrong. So let's learn how to get it right. Before we pounce into it, be sure to subscribe to our channel and join our feline-loving community. Now to the most important mistake many of us make. How you feed your cat. You might think, wait a minute, we're discussing play, not food. But hang on a sec. Food and play are deeply intertwined in your cat's world. Here's how. Imagine for a moment a wild cat in nature. What drives them to chase down a bird or pounce on a mouse? Hunger, right? They hunt primarily to satisfy their hunger. So when your cat is at home and they're chasing a toy, it's not just a fun pastime for them. Deep down, it's mimicking their natural hunting instincts. Now, if you're always leaving food out for them, where it's accessible anytime they fancy a nibble, guess what? They're rarely going to feel that instinctual drive to hunt or play because they're never really hungry. They're sort of in this constant satisfied mode where the urgency to hunt just isn't there. And let's face it, why would they want to expend energy chasing a toy when their tummy is full and they could be napping instead? But here's a simple trick that could transform their play drive. Set specific feeding times for them. Instead of leaving food out all day, feed them at designated times. Over time, they'll start anticipating these feeding times, getting hungry and eager as the clock approaches mealtime. And here's the golden opportunity. Just before you give them their meal, when they are most active and alert, engage them in play. This is the perfect time to bring out their favorite toy and have a play session. Afterwards, when they've had their fill of play, feed them. They'll see it as a reward. It aligns with their natural instincts: hunt, then eat. And over time, you'll start noticing something magical. Just before their scheduled feeding times, they'll become much more eager to play, maybe even asking for it. This routine not only enriches their life by giving them a sense of purpose, but also ensures they're getting good exercise. Number 2. Play by cat rules. Now let's shift our attention to playtime. Here's the thing. Cats have their own set of playtime rules, which stem from their ancestral behaviors. Firstly, we need to remember that a cat's style of play is actually a series of hunting rehearsals. Unlike dogs, cats aren't usually into long, drawn-out games. Instead, they're all about short, intense bursts of activity followed by a rest. When you see your cat suddenly stop after a spirited chase and just sit and watch, it's not because they're bored or uninterested. They're actually just taking a break. They might be catching their breath or sizing up their prey, the toy you're using. This is their natural rhythm. Intense activity followed by a period of rest and observation. They're wired for this pattern of sprinting and then pausing. So here's the key. When you're playing with your cat and they take one of these pauses, don't rush to put the toy away. They haven't lost interest. They're just gearing up for the next exciting chase. Be patient and stay ready, because more often than not, they'll surprise you with a sudden burst of energy as they dive back into the hunt. Number 3. Find the jackpot. When it comes to play, every cat has their own flavor of fun, their own special jackpot, if you will. This jackpot is that specific type of play that sends them into overdrive, making their eyes light up with excitement. But here's the catch. No two cats are exactly the same. What might excite one cat might just get a lazy glance from another. This is where your detective hat comes on. It's time to figure out what makes your cat's heart race. For some cats, it's all about the chase. They want something that moves quickly, something they can dash after, like they're chasing down prey in the wild. For others, it's the element of surprise. They might be more attracted to a toy that ducks around a corner or one that makes unexpected movements, tapping into their natural instincts to pounce. And then there are those who are all about the sounds, a crinkly toy or one that squeaks can excite them the most. Experiment on this and find the one that makes your cat go wild. And then, when you've tried playing with your cat and noticed that they aren't as engaged or they seem to play without that spark in their eyes, this is where the jackpot comes into play. Use it to reignite their interest. However, a word of caution here. This shouldn't be the only card in your deck. If you rely solely on their favorite mode of play, over time they might start to lose interest. After all, even the most exciting game can become mundane if it's the only game in town. Explore different styles of play. Pay attention to their reactions. Over time, you might even discover they have more than one favorite game. Number 4, how you end the play session. Ending a play session might seem like a small thing, but for your cat, it's a big deal. Why? Well, when cats play, they're not just fooling around. They're acting out their instinct to hunt. And what's the most satisfying end to a hunt? Catching their prey, which in your home translates to catching their toy. If your cat chases a toy but never gets to catch it, they can feel unsatisfied. And over time, this can actually be quite discouraging for them. This can lead to a bunch of problems. Some experts say that if your cat regularly ends play without a catch, they might even start to feel down or less interested in playing over time. This brings us to something quite popular, laser pointers. They can be super fun because cats love chasing things, and that little red dot is always just out of reach. But think about it. Your cat can never catch a beam of light, can they? It's impossible, and that can be really frustrating for them. They're putting in all this effort, and they never get the satisfaction of a successful hunt. If you're going to use a laser pointer, and it's okay to use one, make sure you finish with a real toy that they can actually catch and feel with their paws. Number 5, variety, but the smart way. Alright, so let's chat about variety in your cat's toys. Some might think, the more toys the merrier, right? Not necessarily. Here's the scoop on keeping playtime fresh and exciting without overwhelming them, or your wallet. Cats can indeed get bored if they play with the same toy over and over again. It becomes predictable, and the excitement fades. But that doesn't mean you need to rush out and buy the latest and greatest cat toy every week. Instead, think about what your cat really loves about their favorite toys. Take a good look at their go-to toys. What's the draw? Is it the size, shape, or maybe the sound it makes? Perhaps they enjoy a feather on a string because it flies like a bird, or maybe a small, furry mouse toy that rattles just hits the spot. Once you've pinpointed the type of toy your cat goes crazy for, you're onto something. Now here's the clever part. Instead of piling up random toys, select a few that match the profile of their favorites. Then, instead of leaving all the toys out at once, rotate them. Maybe introduce a new or well-rested toy every few days. This way, each toy comes across as a novel treat, keeping their interest peaked. Of course, this doesn't mean you should never introduce completely new types of toys. But by focusing on what's tried and true, you're less likely to end up with a pile of ignored toys. Just like us, our furry friends can face some pretty serious health risks if they don't get enough water. Even mild dehydration isn't a small concern. It can cause issues that may chip away at your cat's health over time, potentially shortening their 9 lives. So check out this video where we dive into the common mistakes that might be keeping your cat from drinking enough water.